How do you actually automate things? If a client comes to you and says, well, I want my invoicing process automated, or I want my onboarding process automated, how do you actually go about doing that? How do you create automations with Claude Code? Usually you would use a platform like make.com or like init. But with Claude Code, there's a much better way of doing it now. We can use the platform that's called Trigger.dev. Trigger is an open source platform for building and hosting automations. You can see that it's open source right here. It has 15,000 GitHub stars, and we can see the entire code base right here. Why is it smart to use Trigger.dev over something like init or make? It's a very simple reason. The reason is that Trigger.dev is built with code, and Claude Code is really good at coding. We actually already have a skill that's called Trigger.dev, and this skill is going to be very important when we build out those workflows. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to clear the session inside of Claude Code, and let's build out a couple of automations with Trigger.dev so you can see how it works. I'm going to write, I want to automate my invoicing process. I want to be able to fill out a form with a bit of information, and then it should build the invoice, export as PDF, and then send via Gmail to the client. Use two skills, and you will have access to both of these skills as well. First one is the Composio skill. I want to use Composio for authentication. Skill 2 is Trigger.dev. I want to build and host this with Trigger.dev. I'm going to give it an ultra-think, put it in plan mode, and let's build this out. Remember what I showed you before with the process of connecting Claude directly with your AI note taker like Fathom via the MCP? Right now I explained what I wanted, right? But if you're talking to a client, I want this and this and this automated, you can take that directly, that context directly from the call into Claude Code, and then you don't even have to explain it like I did here. What fields should the invoicing form capture? It should capture it all. So business information, contact information, line items, tax and discounts, everything that we usually have on an invoice. It should create its own invoicing number, and it should take the date automatically. Then we hit enter, and there we go. It's now going to plan out the process of automating this process of creating invoices. For how we trigger the automation, I think we should use a simple web form from Next.js. So I'm going to choose simple web form and hit enter. For the environmental value, it's very important that they're not hard-coded, but in a .env file, please. Let's use React for the PDF. And for the invoice number, let's do it date-based. And then we hit enter. If you know how to build with Claude Code, it almost doesn't matter what it is that you're building. If you know the process of first planning it out, making sure that you actually give it the right context so it knows exactly what you want, then the opportunity is literally endless. You can build basically anything that you want if you know the actual formatting and the method of building stuff. It's asking about the invoice counter. I think it's a bit overkill to set up the invoice counter in a database. I'm just going to say, let's skip the invoice counter for now and just do it date-based, the naming. For the invoicing, I think both attaching the PDF and storing it in Google Drive is going to be best. Who writes the subject, fixed template with placeholders. Let's actually do it AI generated, so the email is AI generated. And then we hit enter. Now it's going to plan out exactly how we can do this. And there we have it. We have an entire plan for how we should build this out. What's worth noticing is that we are using Composio. If you don't know what Composio is, it's a tool for authentication. So we can authenticate to a bunch of different things very, very easily. I made a full guide for Composio on my channel. So if you want to, you can go and watch that later. And then it's using Trigger.dev for building and hosting this automation. The great thing about Trigger.dev is that it's open source. And when it's open source, we can host this anywhere we want. The easiest thing is probably just to host it with Trigger.dev, and that's how they make money as well. But if you wanted to, or if your client wants this on their own servers, then you can literally just build these workflows and host them wherever you want. That's the power of open source. So now we have a plan. Let's take yes and use auto mode, and let's build out this automation. There we go. Now we can see that it is built. Let me open another terminal. The first thing we do is that we need to fill out this environmental file right here. I'm going to click new file, add a .env file, copy this example over, And then we need to fill out all of this information. So the first thing we need is a trigger secret key. If you don't have it already, then make sure to create a user on trigger and log in. I'm going to create a new project. So in the top left pane, I'm going to create new project. I'm going to call this one Invoicing and just click create. Now we can head under API keys and then copy this secret key right here. So we paste that in where it says secret key. And then we also need to go in and find the project ref right here. Copy this one as well. Now we need the Composio API key. So we go to Composio, and Composio is basically what manages our authentication. If you don't have a Composio account, then sign up for one. It is free up to a certain amount of tool calls. Copy the Composio API key and insert that as well. Now we need the Anthropic API key. This is used for the AI generation of the email. So we're going to platform.claude.com, go into API keys, click create key, call this Invoicing, click add, copy this key, paste that in as well. We need the Google Drive folder ID. We get that by going to Drive. We just create a new folder. I'm going to call this Invoices. If we click in on that, we get this ID right here in the header. So I'm going to copy this one. Then we write all of this information, which is our business info. So let's just try and see if it works. I'm going to write test street 123 building 4 the business phone number. Just write in some random phone number, business logo URL. We can go to our Shiney website. We can copy this image URL right here. That way we don't need to host it, which is smart. Business bank details. Let me just write a random IBAN. Default currency, USD. Default tax rate, 0. Default payment terms, net 14. Default due days. This looks good. Awesome. Then we close down this .environmental file and we say, great, I have filled out the invent file. What now? How do we auth? Now run the one-time Composio auth script. It'll print out 2 auth URLs, Gmail Drive. You click through both and it waits until each connection flips active. Let me just create a new API key. Maybe it was an old one that's already rotated. I'm going to write try again. We still hit a bug. This is a new bug, so Claude can just fix that. There we go. Now you can see it says Gmail OAuth URL. So it's going to give us this URL right here that I can copy and put into our browser. And this is how Composio works. This means that we don't have to set up the Google credentials ourselves. We can use Composio that just gives us this link right here and then click continue. And you can see now Composio is connected to Gmail. I can now say done, come with all URLs, please. So we can connect. And for each service that we connect, it's going to give us a new URL. So now we have the Google Drive URL right here. Paste that in once again. Log in with our Google account. There we go. And now you can see, then open localhost 3001. Server is still not running, so I'm going to ask, please run the dev server for me. And there we go. Now the 2 servers are started, both the backend, which is trigger.dev, and our front end. We can go to localhost 3001, and now we have send an invoice, generates a PDF, drafts with email with Claude, and ships it via Gmail. Blah, from default currency USD, tax 0%, terms net 14, due in 14 days. So I can write, the client's name is, let's do Albert testing, and let's do the company as, let's just call it Build My Agent, and the address, we maybe don't need to, I can do like King Street 420. Line items, we can do consulting services. One quantity, price, let's do 1500. We need to add another, which is upfront fee. Let's do 1, let's call that 500. Currency, money and date. Currency will be USD, tax rate 0. Discount type, none. Discount value, none. Issue date, let's do that the 18th. Due date, we can just leave that. Payment terms, net 14. Any notes? No. And then we can click generate and send. Of course, we need an email right here. Let me just write in my own email just as a test and then click generate and send. You can see it says queued run ID, and then this run right here. Let's see if it works. Let's ask Claude now to check the logs. Did my test work? You can see it checked the logs and found a couple of issues. So let's let Claude fix those. Keep doing runs and you can see Claude fixed one issue. Let's try and check the logs again. Ran into another bug. We'll fix that. Try and submit it once again. Check now. And we just keep doing that until Claude has fixed all of the bugs. And you can see Composio wants user ID, this depending on the tool. Submit again. Let's do that. Generate and send. Just now. There we go. Finish success. Let's see how it looks. If we go to my Gmail and now hit a refresh, you can see we just received an invoice from me. Hi Albert, I hope things are going well at Build My Agent. Please find attached invoice for $2,000 due by payment net terms of 14. So let me know if you have any questions, need anything from my end. Thanks so much for continued trust and working with Shiney. It really means a lot. And here we have an invoice that is generated 100% by our workflow. It has all of our information, invoice number, blah, 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 like this and this and this. Net 14 payment details. Boom. If a company now comes to you and say, well, we spend a lot of time sending out invoices, you know how to fix it.